right, doctor. My eyes. It's 5 minutes after 9 o'clock. Dr. Michael Lange is in the studio ready to answer your questions. We're going to focus on nutrition today and macular degeneration, so I'm looking forward to finding out about that. It looks like you got a new design on the box of Fortify vitamins. Dr. Lange is here to answer your questions. If you have any, the number is 622-9622. Board certified as an optometric physician and also a certified nutrition specialist. And that's the part that seems to get the phone ringing the most, is that nutrition part of your expertise.
It sure does. You know, we all want to live forever, right? As long as our quality of health, our quality of life is good. And what better way than through proper nutrition? God made a pretty good body. And if we give the fuel necessary to cellular level via food, remember food is medicine, then we can live that long, healthy life. We can live into our hundreds, all right? So that's what the show is going to be about today. It's going to be more about nutrition instead of just regular eye stuff, glasses, or things like that. And as you said, I became a certified nutritional specialist at the American College of Nutrition about 3 years ago now. And I think that gives us a lot more credibility of what we're doing with nutrition in our eye care centers throughout Florida.
You were doing it on your own, though, in a way, weren't you, even before you went through the process of getting certified?
Right. For the almost 20 years, I've been involved in nutrition and utilizing the latest in nutrition to help my patients.
Because was there something you observed in people? Did you say, wow, you eat Twinkies and you're going blind? I mean, and was there a connection like that?
Absolutely. There was. Early in my career, I noticed that patients that didn't eat right, well, most of them were overweight, and if they were overweight, they were predisposed to developing all eye diseases earlier, all right? Macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, cataracts. And then the patients that were really in tune with their health, the patients that were like a lean, mean fighting machine, they were much healthier, all right? So I see patients in their mid-40s with cataracts, macular changes, diabetic retinopathy, glaucoma, but yet I have patients that are extremely in tune with their health, that are in their 80s that are disease-free. I mean, on no medication at all and have essentially no eye disease and see 20/20 vision without glasses.
Wow.
So, yes,
Wow.
There's definitely a connection between proper nutrition, dietary changes, lifestyle changes, and diseases in the eye. And that's this article I wrote, How Changes in Diet, Proper Vitamins, Lifestyle Modifications May Help Macular Degeneration. And this article's on all of our websites, langeyecare.com, drmichaellang.com, or fortify.com. And I really urge patients out there with macular degeneration to read this. It's a 17-step approach. It tells you what foods to eat, what foods not to eat, what things you can do to help slow down the aging in the eye, specifically in the retina. Let's face it, especially here in Florida, a good portion of our listeners have macular degeneration or know someone that has macular degeneration. And, you know, we had Dr. Shalais Kaushal on as a guest last week talking about some of the latest interventions, the latest not only nutritional interventions, but medical and even surgical ways of helping patients with macular degeneration. My goal is to keep my patients from ever seeing the retina specialist.
Yeah,
and that's what we're really pretty good at.
Yeah, can I make an observation or share with you an observation? Robert and I speak to people all the time, and the one group of people I want to tell you about is the people who share your passion for nutrition. The difference really between you and them is they usually focus on one thing. Like we'll have one guy who wrote a whole book on resveratrol, one guy who wrote a whole book on vitamin B12, another one who wrote a whole book on, the oil in fish? Number 3?
Omega-3.
Omega-3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You, however, have shown us that it's not any one. There's a formula, and that's what you've been developing. To me, that's the big difference.
I believe that's absolutely correct. You kind of hit the nail on the head, the hammer on the head of the nail, whatever that old saying is. It's a combination of multiple nutrients all put together, and they act in synergy together, all right? Remember, everything in moderation. We've talked about it. I mean, heck, you can go out and have a McDonald's Big Mac every once in a blue moon, but everything in moderation. Too much resveratrol actually is very bad. Too much resveratrol throws you into a hormonal craziness. It causes you to have testosterone levels of your male that go down. Women cause their hormonal female estrogen to go way up. So it can put a man in male menopause early. So that's just like soy. Too much soy is very bad, especially for men and really for women. So everything in moderation. What I've been studying for 8 years now is what we've taken and put in our formula, into our Fortify Complete Macula Defense. Remember, this is 3 tablets and 1 gel cap. And it's a combination of your vitamin D, vitamin C, 8 forms of vitamin E, resveratrol in what we think is the right levels, green tea polyphenols, acetyl L-carnitine, alpha-lipoic acid, CoQ10, lutein, zeaxanthin, goji berry extract, cinnamon, pomegranate, mangosteen. I mean, the list goes on and on. Chromium picolinate, vanadium, bilberry, grapeseed extract. Everything in what we think is the right levels. Now, nobody knows the magical answer, and my quest is to get to that miracle pill, so to speak. It's not there yet, but we're getting there. This is our 8th revision, soon our 9th revision of Fortify vitamins in 6 years. So, you know, my goal is to constantly upgrade this formula. We've done everything from tweaking the coating of this formula so that it tastes better when it's going down without using any synthetic dyes or synthetic artificial sweeteners. Everything is natural in the coating. Everything is natural throughout the formula. And we actually have patients that have improved. I mean, I can step out there and say that. I have patients, when we adjust their diet, their lifestyles, we put them on a formula like the Fortify Complete Macula Defense. I've had many patients, their visual acuity has improved. Cross-sectional imaging, OCT studies, digital photography have shown their retina actually improving. So that's the power of proper nutrition. Not only changing your diet, but adding the right vitamins. If we all ate 15 to 16 servings of organically grown fruits and vegetables a day, we got 25 minutes of sun a day, we got, you know, plenty of sleep, and we did all the things, we're eating some of these exotic fruits and vegetables, maybe we wouldn't need supplements, but let's face it, none of us are doing that. And so that's what supplements are. Supplements supplement your current diet. Yeah. And they're not in replace of it. You can't just have this in water. You're going to die, all right? But you can have this and then 5 small meals of the right foods throughout the day, and it's just going to give you the nutrients that the cells in your retina and your entire body are thirsting for, and thus slow down the degenerative effects in the eye and in the entire body. We know without a shadow of a doubt now that certain nutrients that we put in here can actually slow down chromosomal aging. That's the shrinkage rate of the end cap of the chromosome called the telomere. So we're actually able to slow down biological aging through proper supplementation and diet.
And just think where that might lead to. That might lead to slowing down aging in general.
I mean, let's face it, I've been doing this for a long time. I'm 87 years old now. And all right, I'm just messing with you.
So how does a person know what to get? I mean, I like the Fortify Complete, but maybe I should go to Fortify Macular Degeneration because I wear, contacts and glasses 24/7. What do you say to a person like myself?
Yeah, that's a great question. And that's why we have these products mainly available through doctors, so doctors can make recommendations. You can go to our website, fortify.com, FORTIFEYE. You can call Fortify Vitamins at 866-503-9746. That's 866-503-9746. But you can't get these products, in your typical drugstore or warehouse club because we want the doctors to recommend it so they can make a recommendation based on your age, your height, your weight, the disease entity that's going on, whether or not you smoke, what medications you're taking, whether or not you do have an eye disease like macular degeneration, diabetic retinopathy. Based on that, we can determine whether or not we put you on our Fortify 1 a day, our Fortify Complete Plus, or ultimately our Fortify Complete Macula Defense. So it's a concentration increase as you go through the line. The 1 a day is basically about 4 or 5 servings of fruits and vegetables and antioxidant power. Our Complete Plus is double that, and then our Macula Defense is triple that. So our Macula Defense is going to be for patients that need more antioxidants to combat against free radical damage, aging, disease. So a patient that is obviously older, a patient that's overweight, a patient that smokes or drinks a lot of alcohol, a patient taking a whole host of medications. These patients are going to need more antioxidant power. But by the same token, somebody that's relatively healthy, that's an extreme athlete, so a triathlete, an Ironman competitor, a bicyclist, mountain biker, motocross racer,
like
football player, anybody like that, they need more antioxidants because, believe it or not, extreme athletics causes free radical damage in our body. And so that's where the Fortify Macula Defense comes in play. It's not just for people that have macular degeneration.
When we hear about the obesity problem in America, and then we hear about like how the French, they always say they don't have this obesity problem, and then you look at videos of them eating, and it's like, wait a minute, they're going overboard, aren't they? I mean, wouldn't we not eat like that? Do you think, because Fortify is international, right?
Right, absolutely.
So for example, their lifestyle, obviously they're doing something different than we are, because it looks like they're eating a lot of bread. A lot of
saturated fat, too. Cheeses.
And yet, what's going on? I mean, and so would their needs be different than ours, and is it genetic? What is it?
That's a great question. Absolutely. Genetics do have a part to play in it. The area that you live in of the world, all right, whether or not it's polluted or not. But a lot of people in Europe, you got to remember this. When I was doing research in Norway, I was going through Denmark, and we were in Copenhagen. Everybody was riding a bicycle. Everybody. I mean, thousands of people riding bicycles in their high heels. Women were going to work on their bicycle, and they're riding, 10, 15, 20 miles a day, some of these people.
Oh, nice.
So exercise. In France, a lot of people are walking, riding their bicycles. So, yes, they are eating foods that are high in saturated fat that we think in America maybe aren't as good for us as it should be. But another thing is, these people aren't as stressed as we are in the United States. I mean, think about it. We get up and we go to work at 6 in the morning. We come home at 6 at night. 12-hour day is very common in America.
Yeah.
In Spain and in Italy and France, they take a break in the middle of the day. They go to work for 2 to 3 hours, and they take a 3-4 hour break, and then they go to work for another couple hours. So they're getting this break in the middle of the day and relaxing. I think that's one big thing. Relaxation is also the key to longevity, not being stressed. So certainly the right diet, eating the right foods, exercise, but trying to reduce stress levels as well.
It sounds good, doesn't it? All right, let's go to the phone. Good morning. You're on the air with Dr. Michael Lange.
Good morning, Doctor. I watch a lot of the PBS channels, a lot of like C-SPAN and stuff like that. And when they are like touring Europe and so on and so forth, I'm seeing more and more porkers over there, just as much as you do here. Maybe not the same number, but they got a problem over there too. I think they're getting used to living the good life as we have. The other thing is, you talk about they ride their bicycles all over. Europe, for centuries, was settled because of the climate there. They have, in general, not too severe a summer, and their winters aren't too severe. Of course, you have the eyeball year, where England was virtually put to a standstill due to a snowstorm, lasted for a week. But in general, their climates are a lot conducive to that outdoor type of lifestyle than we have here. And I'm just wondering, yeah, it's great to ride a bicycle, but you ride it here.
Heat stroke.
You've got to be ready to go for a shower or something if you're going to ride it to work, before you go to work. Anyhow, I'll hang up and listen. It was a very interesting program, and I thank you for being on the air and educating us and reminding us that, your eyes are the windows to the world, or the windows to your health also. Thanks a lot, Doctor.
Yeah. All right, take care. Yeah, he brings up a valid point. Many European countries are Americanized now, okay?
Yeah.
I mean, you have McDonald's and Burger Kings, and not to knock the fast food chains, but many of these countries are becoming Americanized. And it just depends on what area you're in. I've traveled Europe pretty extensively with the vitamin company, but I got to tell you, Copenhagen, Denmark, is an amazing place. You fly into there. You can literally eat off the floor, right? You go from Newark, New York, all right, that airport, which is really kind of the pits, and then you fly into Copenhagen, and the floors are pristine, and you walk around Copenhagen. They're not people that are overweight. I couldn't find many overweight. It's like it's beautiful society, beautiful people. And, I didn't really get into their diet. The diet in that Norway, Sweden, Denmark, I don't really love the diet. They eat a lot of this salted fish.
There's a lot of fish, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, a lot of salted fish, though, I think is a delicacy. I liked, broiled fish or baked fish, sautéed in coconut oil, something like that. But certainly, the Mediterranean diet is very good for your overall health. And a lot of these European countries, especially Italy and around the Mediterranean region, are eating a Mediterranean diet where they're eating lots of fruits and vegetables, and they're eating fish, all right? So, yes, certain countries are also eating a lot of cheese dairies and a lot of breads and a lot of saturated fats in their sauces, but they're also eating a lot of the vegetables and a lot of the fish that can combat against some of the deteriorating side effects of the foods they're eating. Now, one thing about Copenhagen that I didn't really understand, and in Europe, is that, they still do a lot of smoking over there, all right? They're riding their bicycle.
Yeah.
They look like they're in good shape, but they're smoking a cigarette while they're riding their bicycle. Now, just think about it. If they could stop smoking, it would be a super race.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We probably have the potential to be much more able to do things than we are. I mean, we sabotage our own selves.
Oh, we absolutely do. And there's a lot to have to do with willpower, right? Because it's easy to sit down at home and pop in a frozen dinner in the microwave and then eat a bag of chips and drink a soda while you're sitting back and relaxing and watching TV. And then what you do is you say, well, I'll start doing it later. And, you started saying this when you were 23 years old, and now all of a sudden you're 53. And you're going, wow, it's getting a little bit more difficult. And then when you finally have that mild heart attack or a little stroke or some chest pains and you get scared into doing it, it is very difficult to adjust your lifestyle once you've gotten to that level. And that's why you got to start very early. But you can change at any age, any time in your life. I've got patients that have lost 140 pounds in 1 year. There's one that actually is taking my son scuba diving right now in Boca Raton. They drove all night, and he's my son's scuba diver, and he's been listening to my talk show for years, and he's been following what I've said. He's lost 140 pounds in 1 year. He's looking really good. They're down lobstering because at midnight tonight, midnight last night, lobster season opened up, and so they're down in Boca, and they can get 48 lobsters each. So they got the scuba tanks on. They're going down. They're going to bring back 48 lobsters. So hopefully we'll be having some lobster Friday night.
Do you use butter?
Sometimes. A nice real butter. You dip it in there. It's good. A little lemon. I don't eat a lot of lobster. As a matter of fact, I haven't lobster in a long time because, remember, I developed a shellfish allergy about 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh, that's right.
So I haven't had any lobster since then. I think if I have a little lobster, I'm going to be sitting in front of the emergency room when I taste the lobster.
No.
I go to you or your office once a year to get my eyes checked and then to get my contacts renewed. But I have noticed that my eyes have gone downhill because within the past couple of years, I'm not able to squint now and see the clock on the other side of the bed. Is that a sign of oncoming macular degeneration, or is that just
absolutely
the
not
regular way I go because I'm getting older?
Yeah, we would look at your retina and dilate your eyes, periodically, once a year usually, to make sure you're not developing macular degeneration. Robin, you're still relatively young, so macular degeneration usually doesn't start. I mean, they say 55 and up, but usually 65, 75 years of age is when it comes on. And I'm sure you don't have any signs of macular degeneration. You probably just have the plain old common age-related changes in your eye. The human crystalline lens is losing its elasticity. The ciliary muscle responsible for focusing is losing its ability to focus, and therefore you're just not seeing as well because of that. You might need to just update your contact lens prescription. Start eating more wild Alaskan salmon. This is for you and everybody that has macular degeneration, anybody, because wild Alaskan salmon is high, and we've talked about this before, omega-3, which is good for the retina, good for your heart, good for your brain, your hair, your nails, your joints, your skin, but it's also high in astaxanthin. And there's some new studies, very new preliminary studies, suggesting that astaxanthin, the carotenoid that gives wild Alaskan salmon its orange color, may have some health benefits for the retina. And then we combine it with lutein and zeaxanthin, very powerful. So some foods that are good for patients with macular degeneration would be spinach and kale and collard greens, dark green leafy vegetables due to the lutein, wild Alaskan salmon due to the omega-3 and the astaxanthin, and then orange bell peppers and goji berries due to the zeaxanthin. Those three carotenoids are very beneficial for retinal health, and many of us are deficient in that. When you eat your spinach, kale, and collard greens, don't eat them raw, and make sure they're organically grown, because they're one of the dirty dozen. That's fruits and vegetables, 12 fruits and vegetables that are filled with unacceptable amounts of pesticides. And people talk about raw spinach salads. I don't recommend eating that, because raw spinach is very high in oxalates, all right? Oxalates block the absorption of calcium. Also, it's very acidic, raw spinach. If we block the absorption of calcium, it predisposes to developing osteoporosis and osteopenia. Also, it increases your risk of kidney stones, the oxalates. So simply cook the spinach, gently steam it, gently saute it in coconut oil, chop it or juice it in a juicer that reduces the acidity and the oxalate value, breaks down the cell wall, and then it releases the bioavailability of the lutein, which actually turns into mesozeaxanthin. So that makes spinach very, very good for you. So spinach, kale, collard greens, cooked or juiced or chopped, and orange bell peppers, goji berries, and wild Alaskan salmon. Add a little green tea. The polyphenols in green tea are good for the retina, have anti-VEGF activity. A little bit of red wine, specifically Pinot Noir from the Oregon region, a biodynamic, organically grown Pinot Noir. I like King's Estate as a brand I like. Very high in resveratrol that we're